Get out right now. Those words hit me so hard that for a moment I thought I had heard them wrong. My wife had just screamed them at me in front of her entire family. What happened afterward left everyone in that room stunned, because just 2 hours later, the same woman who threw me out was standing in the pouring rain, desperately begging me not to walk out of her life forever. My name is Ethan Brooks. I was 38 years old, worked as a project manager, and had been married to my wife Vanessa for 7 years. When we first met, she was kind, funny, and genuinely down to earth. But after her father's business became a huge success, everything changed. Her family began treating money as if it determined a person's value. I wasn't poor, but compared to her wealthy relatives, I was just an ordinary man. For years, I put up with their insults. Ethan still drives that old car. Ethan still has a regular job. Vanessa could have married someone so much better. I stayed silent because I loved my wife, or at least I believed I did. The final breaking point came during her father's 65th birthday celebration. The party was held at an elegant country club. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. The room was filled with expensive suits and designer dresses. The second I walked in, I could feel the judgment in every direction. Vanessa barely acknowledged me. Instead, she spent the evening introducing her wealthy cousins and successful business associates. I stood alone near the buffet while people whispered behind my back. Then, everything fell apart. Vanessa's cousin Derek, a spoiled millionaire who enjoyed humiliating others, lifted his glass and laughed loudly. "So, Ethan, tell us something. What's it like being the least successful man in this family?" Several guests laughed. I expected Vanessa to stand up for me. Instead, she smiled. Actually smiled. The room became completely silent as I looked straight at her. "Really?" I asked softly. She folded her arms. "Maybe if you weren't so sensitive, people wouldn't make jokes about you." Her words cut through me like a knife. Then Derek added, "Honestly, Vanessa deserves someone who can actually keep up with her lifestyle." More laughter filled the room. I looked directly into my wife's eyes. She didn't stop them. She didn't even seem uncomfortable. Instead, she nodded in agreement. That was the moment something inside me finally shattered. I gently placed my drink on the table. "Vanessa," I said calmly, "do you agree with them?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, not this again. Answer me." The entire room watched in silence. Finally, she let out a dramatic sigh. "You want the truth? You're embarrassing me." Her words echoed across the hall. Every conversation stopped. Then she pointed toward the exit. "If you're going to make a scene, then leave." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want me to leave?" "Yes." "Your husband?" "Leave." The humiliation burned deep inside my chest, but instead of arguing, I simply nodded. For the first time in years, I felt strangely calm. I slipped off my wedding ring, placed it on the table, and walked away. The entire room froze. No one expected that, not even Vanessa. I got into my car and drove away. Sitting alone in a nearby parking lot, I replayed every insult, every disrespectful comment, and every painful moment I had ignored just to keep our marriage alive. Then I made a decision I should have made years before. I called a lawyer friend. By the time our conversation ended, the divorce papers were already being prepared. Over the next 2 hours, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Vanessa called 17 times. I ignored every call. Then the messages started arriving. "Where are you?" "Stop being dramatic. Answer me." Then another message appeared. "We need to talk." I didn't respond. Apparently, after I walked out, several guests confronted Vanessa. Her uncle reminded her that I had helped the family through financial difficulties years earlier. Her aunt told her she had publicly humiliated a loyal husband. Even her own father criticized the way she had treated me. For the first time, no one was on Vanessa's side. She finally realized she had gone too far. 2 hours later, someone knocked on my apartment door. I opened it. Vanessa stood there. Her makeup had run down her face. Her eyes were swollen from crying. The confident woman from the party had disappeared. "Ethan," she whispered. I said nothing. "I'm sorry." I had waited years to hear those words, yet somehow they no longer meant anything. She stepped closer. "I didn't mean it." "Yes, you did." I was angry. No, you were honest. Tears streamed down her face. She reached for my hand. I love you. I slowly shook my head. No, you loved having someone who accepted being disrespected. Her expression completely fell apart. I handed her an envelope. She looked at it in confusion. Then she opened it. The instant she saw the divorce papers, she gasped. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. Ethan, please. For years I had begged for respect. For years I had accepted humiliation. Now the roles had changed and suddenly she wanted another chance. The irony was impossible to ignore. I gave you 7 years, I said quietly, as you gave me 7 years of excuses. She completely broke down, but my decision was final. That night I closed the door, not because I was angry, not because I wanted revenge, but because I had finally understood something that mattered. The people who truly love you will never humiliate you just to impress someone else. And the moment someone asks you to leave your dignity behind, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply walk away. Just 2 hours after throwing me out of that family party, my wife lost something far more valuable than her pride. She lost the one person who had loved her, even when she no longer deserved it.